Welcome fly tyers to another episode of Aaron at the Fly Desk, and today we're going to be tying a streamer pattern. We live in brown trout country where I'm at, and we have some spring creeks and some lakes, some rivers more north of us that have some great brown trout in them. And any of you who have fished for brown trout know that brown trout love streamers. This is also a pattern that we'll use early in the spring at ice off. If you use some of the brighter threads like pink or orange. And so I'm actually going to do this with some pink thread. So this is a relatively easy streamer pattern to tie, and it's effective on pretty much all types of aggressive trout, browns, cutthroats especially. And first we're going to put some eyes on this thing, and I'm just pulling them out. I'll show you. So I like using dumbbell eyes. Whoops. And they fell. So they're not made to stick in scissors, but you can see they look like a dumbbell. They got a little eye painted on them. And so with this hook, kind of my rule of thumb is if it's an up eye, I tie the dumbbell on the bottom of the hook. If it's a down eye, I actually tie them on the top. And the reason is whatever side these dumbbell eyes are on, that is where the hook's going to be on the opposite side. So when we're fishing for brown trout, we're fishing in a lot of freestone creeks, and so it's pretty easy to get snagged if you're dragging your fly and the hook's on the bottom. So if you put your eyes on top, a lot of times it'll flip that hook over and you can scoot along the bottom relatively easy with a lot less likely chance of getting snagged. So you can see I'm just doing kind of a figure 8 on this set of dumbbell eyes. Then what I like to do is I like to get some super glue and put right in the middle of those eyes. And just a few more wraps, and then we're done. Okay, on this one I'm going to use some kind of goldish rainbow flashaboo that I found at Sportsman's Warehouse. It's a new color that I didn't have, and I've actually really liked it. Our brown trout tend to like flies with a little bit of gold in them, believe it or not. So I'll put a little flash on it, and then what I like to do is, so we're going to tie this with the Zonker Strips. And so this is a braided material. I'll just cut it off so it's easier to see. I think it's called crystal braid. And you can see it's got a pretty cool texture. It's really strong, which I like. And we've kind of been playing around with this material with some UV glue, and I'll show you something pretty cool that we found that you can do with it just to make it look a little better and be extremely strong. So we put that on, and then we just wrap it right up against the previous wrap. And then we'll actually crisscross it and then pull real tight on our dumbbell eyes. And tie it off, just like so. Okay, and then what we will do is we'll take our trusty UV glue in thick, get our light ready. I like to have my light on and ready to go, and I just face it away from the fly and start putting this glue on this crystal braid. Put that light on to harden it. Then I'll turn it over. Do the same on the bottom. You can see it gives a real neat fishy look. Whoops. So on the side. The other thing it does, it makes it sink even better. So what I've done is I've put some on the top, on the bottom, and on the side. Just kind of let it soak in there, and then hit it with the light. So you can see it gives it a really neat look. Kind of bulks out your body a little bit. Makes it look even more fishy. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use some Zonker Strips. And Zonker Strips are simply just rabbit fur that have this leather. I think they just take the rabbit skin and cut it in strips and dye it. So this is a grizzly olive color. I really like this color for the places that we fish. And so I usually cut a pretty big piece, at least twice the size of my hook. And then what I like to do is I like to trim it into kind of a triangle on top to make it easier to tie on. And then what we do is we simply put it on the bottom of this fly. And we just wrap that big old piece of leather right on the hook. Okay. So I've built up my head at this point. And I put a good whip finish on it. Oops, I caught some of that. Okay. So now what you do is I'm going to pull this out of my vise, and I'm actually going to put my hook through this leather about right there. And so what I do is I stick it on there to where it's parallel with the back of my body. I'm going to just pull it out of this, and then I just pull that on. So you can see I've just pulled that leather down like that. And then what I do is, depending how long I want it, I just cut it at an angle. And I'm going to put that in upside down so you can see. Exactly how that looks in the water. So the thing I love about this fly is it's way less likely to get snagged because my hook is on top and it just kind of hangs there off of my tippet. And I strip these pretty fast through the water, and this rabbit fur, I mean, it wiggles, it looks really, really good and natural in the water. So typically I'll make mine about twice the length of my hook. And then if I'm getting a lot of strikes where they're not grabbing it, I'll simply just cut it down and make it just a little bit smaller. But that seems to be a really good length for me when I'm fishing for big brown trout. One thing you can do with big browns is if you see a hole that, you know, there might be one underneath a bank, you can actually throw a streamer under there and kind of lure him out, because they'll get super aggressive and curious, and you can actually get them to come up out of their hole, and then, you know, cast a dry fly or some nymphs at them if you won't take the streamer. But streamer fishing for brown trout, cutthroat trout, super effective, and we love this fly. I call this the UV streamer, and obviously you can make them in a lot of different colors and variations with your crystal flash and, you know, different color eyes. But this one, just a good solid color. It imitates a little rainbow trout or even a little brook trout, and those are a delicacy for big fish. So thank you for watching today's episode of Aaron at the Fly Desk. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope to see you on the water someday. Thanks for watching.